Ukraine's counteroffensive is currently underway. Russian and Ukrainian troops were engaged in a fierce battle in Ukraine's eastern Donbas region. Artillery units pounded the front line. Both Russia and Ukraine claim to have inflicted heavy casualties on each other. NATO Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg said that NATO leaders will not invite Ukraine to join the alliance in mid-July this year. Stoltenberg added that NATO was preparing for the conflict in Ukraine to drag on for a long time. NATO will next meet in Lithuania in July, where they will review the situation in Ukraine. Meanwhile, the NATO force commander in Kosovo has said that his troops are ready to ensure peace. He added that the situation in Kosovo remains tense. Earlier in May, over 30 NATO peacekeepers were injured in clashes with ethnic Serb protesters. The ethnic Serbs were protesting the installation of ethnic Albanian mayors in Serb-dominated regions of northern Kosovo. Currently, over 4,500 NATO troops are deployed in Kosovo. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi has departed for his state visit to the US. The Indian Prime Minister will be in the US from the 21st to the 24th of June. He will hold extensive talks with US President Joe Biden on June 22nd. The Indian Prime Minister will also address the US Congress on the same day. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak met his Swedish counterpart Ulf Kristersson at 10 Downing Street on Monday. Kristersson thanked Sunak for endorsing Sweden's NATO membership bid. The Swedish Prime Minister will also visit Google DeepMind's artificial intelligence research laboratory in England. French President Emmanuel Macron said that multiple European countries will purchase surface-to-air missiles from his country. These potential buyers include Belgium, Estonia, Hungary and Cyprus. The countries are set to buy the Mistral missile. Mistral is a short-ranged surface-to-air missile that's highly mobile and can be fired from multiple types of launchers. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz met Chinese Premier Li Qiang in Berlin. This is Li's first foreign trip since he took office in March this year. Scholz and Li held the 7th round of intergovernmental talks between Germany and China. Earlier in the day, Scholz said that Germany should not place its exports to China under strict supervision. He added that Germany had enough laws to secure the country's international trade. Finland's parliament has voted in favor of National Coalition Party leader Petteri Orpo to become the next Prime Minister. The Conservative Party coalition led by Orpo won the parliamentary elections back in April. The coalition secured a majority after winning 108 seats out of 200. Orpo will now replace Sanna Marin as Finland's next Prime Minister. Israeli commandos conducted a raid in the occupied West Bank. The operation ended earlier today. It lasted for hours after a fierce gun battle broke out. At least 5 Palestinians were killed. Over 90 civilians were wounded in the clashes. At least 7 Israeli soldiers were also injured in the shootout. They were airlifted to a nearby military hospital. A man wielding an axe injured 4 people at a restaurant in New Zealand's capital, Auckland. Hospital authorities said that the 4 victims were in a stable condition. New Zealand police arrested a 24-year-old man for the axe attack. The police did not give a motive for the assault. At least 1 student was killed in a school shooting in the southern Brazilian city of Cambé. Another student was wounded and hospitalized. The shooter was arrested by Brazil's police. He was a former student of the school where the shooting took place. Cambé City's mayor has declared 3 days of mourning. The Mexican government destroyed modified armored vehicles allegedly seized from criminal gangs. Mexico's officials used a crane to destroy all the 14 seized armored vehicles. Many of the vehicles had thick steel ramming plows welded to the front. Other modified trucks had firing ports and gun turrets. International donors pledged over $1.5 billion in humanitarian aid for the North African country of Sudan. That's just about half of what the UN estimates that the war-torn country needs. Remember, Sudan is facing an internal conflict since the 15th of April. The Sudanese armed forces are fighting the Rapid Support Forces paramilitary group. A powerful tornado ripped through Moss Point town in the U.S. state of Mississippi. At least 100 buildings were damaged by the strong winds. No fatalities were reported. The tornado tore down roofs, trees, and power lines. A tornado hit the Miramar beach town in the U.S. state of Florida. The twister was followed by thunderstorms and showers. The U.S. National Weather Service urged residents to stay indoors amid the severe weather. A cold wave has hit the central regions of Brazil. Near freezing temperatures have caused the death of nearly 1,000 cattle in Brazil's Mato Grosso do Sul province. Local officials have said that hypothermia was leading to the death of farm animals. US President Joe Biden announced a climate resilience package worth over $600 million on Monday. The investments will go towards making disaster-resilient infrastructure in the coastal states of the US. There are 30 coastal states in America. They are vulnerable to flooding from rising sea levels, hurricanes, and eroding shorelines. A new report has found that Europe is the fastest warming continent in the world. The study finds that Europe is heating twice as fast as the global average for the last 4 decades. Countries like the UK, Spain, Switzerland, and Italy saw their hottest year on record in 2022. Another study has found that Asia's Himalayan mountain range could lose up to 75% of its glaciers to global warming. Scientists predict that this could happen within this century. The study estimates that the melting of the Himalayas glaciers could impact over 2 billion people. Melting glaciers will also pose the threat of flash floods and landslides to communities living downstream. Climate activists from the South American nation of Chile used ice sculptures to demand protection for Antarctica. They made a 3-meter-long krill-shaped ice model that melted before the eyes of watchers. Krill are tiny shrimp-like creatures that are considered the powerhouses of the Antarctic ecosystem. They have increasingly become the target of human consumption. Moving on to business news, Alibaba Group's Chief Executive Officer and Chairman Daniel Zhang will step down. He will now focus on leading the company's cloud intelligence group. Eddie Wu will take over as the new CEO. Meanwhile, the chairman role will be handed over to Joseph Tsai. Both the new appointments will take effect on September 10th. European antitrust regulators are planning to probe software giant Adobe. This is over Adobe's $20 billion deal to buy designer platform Figma. They will investigate whether the deal is anti-competitive in nature. Regulators globally have expressed concerns that large tech firms acquiring smaller rivals could throttle competition. Singapore-based food delivery app Grab Holdings is preparing its biggest round of job cuts since the pandemic. The number of redundancies has not been mentioned. However, reports add it will likely surpass the company's 2020 job cut round. Back then, Grab had eliminated 5% of its staff. The official announcement could come as soon as this week. Reports say Indian edtech startup Byju's will lay off about 500 to 1,000 people. This will reportedly help the company cut costs to achieve profitability. The company has already cut more than 3,000 jobs in the past year. The latest layoffs come while Byju's fights a legal battle with creditors in the US. The Paris Air Show kicked off on Monday. European plane maker Airbus announced a record 500-plane deal with the Indian airline Indigo. This is the largest deal ever in terms of the number of aircraft. This Paris Air Show was the first in 4 years after the 2021 edition was cancelled due to the pandemic. The International Monetary Fund is working on a platform for central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. This is to enable transactions between countries. The IMF also wants central banks to agree on a common regulatory framework for digital currencies. The agency's managing director, Kristalina Georgieva, said that using CBDCs only for domestic purposes will be underutilizing their capacity. Indonesia's central bank will keep its interest rate unchanged this month. This is according to analysts. They're expected to maintain the rates at 5.75% for the fifth consecutive meeting. Analysts also expect the Indonesian central bank to hold the rates for the rest of the year. Central bank officials are due to meet from June 21st to 22nd. Google is planning to move some production of its Pixel smartphone to India. It has begun early talks with domestic suppliers in the region. Global tech giants are now eyeing India as a manufacturing hub. This comes as they seek to move their business away from China. American chipmaker Intel will invest more than $33 billion in Germany. This is to develop 2 chip-making plants in Magdeburg City. Chancellor Olaf Scholz hailed the deal as Germany's biggest ever foreign investment. The deal marks Intel's 3rd big investment in 4 days. The firm also recently announced plans to build factories in Poland and Israel. Elon Musk's rocket company SpaceX, along with Indonesian authorities, has launched the country's largest telecommunications satellite. The project is worth $540 million. It will provide internet access to the remote corners of Indonesia. Moving to sports, in the Cricket World Cup qualifiers, Oman defeated Ireland by 5 wickets. Ireland batted first and scored a total of 281 for the loss of 7 wickets in 50 overs. Oman's Kashyap Prajapati scored 72 runs, paving the way for their highest ever run chase in the 50-over format. This was Oman's first victory against Ireland in one-day internationals. The South African women's cricket team is all set to tour Pakistan for the first time. The tour will consist of 3 T20 internationals and 3 one-day internationals. All the matches will be held at the National Stadium in Karachi from the 1st to the 14th of September. In football, Cristiano Ronaldo will be making his 200th appearance for Portugal. He'll be playing in a Euro 2024 qualifier against Iceland. With a record 122 goals, Ronaldo is Portugal's highest goal scorer. The New Zealand football team abandoned a friendly match against Qatar over racial abuse. This took place in Austria. New Zealand refused to appear for the second half of the game. This was after a Qatari player allegedly targeted New Zealand defender Michael Boxall with racial remarks. The New Zealand side was leading the match 1-0 in the first half before refusing to play the second half. French striker Kylian Mbappe's penalty gave France a 1-0 win over Greece in their Euro 2024 qualifier match. Mbappe's penalty heralded him as the all-time leading French scorer over a season with 54 goals for club and country. He beat the mark previously set by Just Fontaine in 1957-58. England beat Macedonia 7-0 in their Euro 2024 qualifier, which was at Old Trafford Stadium in Manchester. England's Bukayo Saka smashed 3 goals while Harry Kane scored 2. This was Saka's first career hat-trick. Manager Gareth Southgate later revealed that Saka carried an injury into the game. In tennis, British number 1 Katie Boulter claimed the Nottingham Open title. She secured a 6-3, 6-3 victory over Jodie Burrage in the All-British final. It's been a good event for the UK, with Andy Murray also winning the men's event. Greek player Stefanos Tsitsipas defeated his French opponent at the Halle Open. Tsitsipas lost the first set, but he bounced back to win the next 2 sets 6-4, 7-6. Tsitsipas will now face Chilean Nicolas Jarry for a place in the quarter-final. World number 3 Daniil Medvedev beat Marcos Giron at the 2023 Halle Open. Medvedev beat Giron 6-4, 6-3 to enter the second round of the tournament. Last year, Medvedev reached the Halle final, but he missed out on clinching the title. Cyclists braved Italy's Dolomites mountain range. The Dolomites are termed to be the world's toughest place for mountain bike marathons. Cyclists defied the steep climbs and winding tracks at the Hero South Tyrol Dolomites mountain bike race. Social media influencer Andrew Tate has been charged with rape and human trafficking in Romania. He's also been charged for forming an organized crime group to sexually exploit women. He, along with his brother Tristan Tate and 2 other suspects, have been sent to trial. They face a criminal investigation for abuses committed against 7 women. The search for missing actor Julian Sands has resumed after a break of 5 months. The 65-year-old went missing during a hike in January on Mount Baldy in California. A search party with 80 search and rescue volunteers, along with 2 helicopters and drone crews, has been deployed for the mission. Though Sands was an experienced hiker, the Mount Baldy area faced extreme weather conditions in winter. His brother Nick says he's already said his goodbyes. The Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle, has been accused of faking interviews for her podcast titled Archetypes. It has been reported that the interviews were conducted by other staffers. It's been further noted that audio recordings of Meghan Markle asking questions was edited into the final episodes. The British royal couple recently ended their $20 million contract with the music streaming app Spotify. Spotify's executive has accused the couple of being grifters. Netflix has released the first trailer of its Japanese live-action series Burn the House Down. The domestic revenge thriller is an adaptation of the popular manga of the same name. The show will launch worldwide on the 13th of July. A docu-series backed by basketball player LeBron James and producer Maverick Carter has set its premiere date. The docu-series is titled See It Loud: The History of Black Television. It explores the impact of black television on popular culture. The 5-episode series will release on the 9th of July on CNN. Iran's Dornaz Hajiha has become the first female director to win the top honor at the Transylvania Film Festival. Her film, Like a Fish on the Moon, won the Transylvania Trophy for Best Feature Film. The film is Hajiha's directorial debut. K-pop band Winners, Kang Seong-yoon, is set to enlist for mandatory military service. The singer will undergo basic military training before serving as an active duty soldier. He made a farewell post on his social media in which he revealed shorter hair. He's the last member of the band Winner to enlist in the military. K-pop band Tempest have announced their first solo concert since their debut last August. The show is titled 2023 Tempest Show Contour. The concert will be held between the 12th and 13th of August in Seoul's Olympic Park. Security measures at the Electric Forest Music Festival have been increased in light of the recent shootings in the US. Michigan State Police officials and K-9 units have been deployed at the event. This comes after a mass shooting on the 17th of June at the Beyond Wonderland Music Festival in Washington. 2 were killed and 3 injured at Beyond Wonderland. The Electric Forest Festival will take place from the 22nd to the 25th of June in Michigan. Singer Bibi Rexha posted a health update after being attacked at a concert. In the photo, Rexha can be seen with a black eye and stitches near her eyebrow. She was attacked mid-performance when a concert goer threw a mobile phone at her face. The assaulter has been identified as a 27-year-old New Jersey resident. The police have arrested him on charges of assault. He has reportedly said that he did it for humor.
We're in Washington, D.C., the capital of the United States of America, where Prime Minister Modi will arrive for his first state visit. This is Modi's 8th visit to the U.S. as Prime Minister, his second during the Biden presidency. We will report and analyze every aspect of this visit. Join me, Palki Sharma, to connect the dots on Firstpost.